Again, guys, and this is not going to be the normal kind of replay cast you'll see from me. You may already be noticing something slightly off about this Chrysler K that we're going to have Remedy from Meme driving us today. Obviously, the Meme clan, we have seen some of them on the channel before, and these pancakes have, of course, but in the case of Alex V and Remedy, they have indeed, as the pancakes they are, bought the Chrysler KGF. Now this tank is the latest in a line of power creep tanks that Wargaming have introduced, and it's just gotten to the point where it's just dumb, and this thing is a pay-to-win tank in my opinion, not only in terms of how much better it is compared to some regular tech tree tanks, but also in the penetration values that were given for the gun. So it's a 105mm gun with 198mm of penetration on standard ammo, same as on the T32, the T29, and it's just dumb. Like, why? Like, already, like, 198mm for at tier 8 is just not enough these days. But what makes this worse? Like, well, what makes this pay to win is the armor piercing composite rigid ammo, the APCR. It's 260mm of pen. While on the T32 and T29, obviously T29 being tier 7, but it does use the same gun as the T32 at tier 8, those both have around 240 to 243mm of pen on premium ammo. And it's not the only 105mm gun at this tier to be lacking pen on standard ammo. The VK4502A also has, well, it has 200mm on standard ammo and 244 on premium APCR. But what makes this tank dumb, as well as the Defender and the Liberté and the Patriot, is that it's a better tank than similar tier tech tree tanks. In the case of the Defender, it's better than the IS-3. Armor is better, mobility is similar, penetration is similar, but the gun hits for 440, whilst only taking maybe 2 or 3 seconds longer to reload, which is not a long time. Gun handling's pretty much the same as well, in practice at least. But the Object 252U has way better armor than the IS-3. But what I don't like about this over the 252U is that the only thing on this tank that could be considered a weak spot is the lower front plate, just this bit here. But that's 180mm thick, roughly, in just raw thickness. If you're sitting like this, it's about 212 to 215mm of effective armor. And that means that this tank cannot penetrate another one frontally at all. You just can't with standard ammo. You have to hit your 2 key if you want to penetrate another Chrysler K frontally with your Chrysler K. And if you angle it, then T32s can't even use their premium ammo to penetrate your lower plate. Yeah. And the cupola, while it may seem like a weak spot, it is not. At this, like, you have to hit, like, pretty much dead on the center of the flattest part that's facing you, and it's only a couple of pixels wide to even get the weakest part, and that, even then, that's 260 plus millimeters, and then it gets into auto ricochet angles after that. So, and then you've got the upper front plate, which, when unangled and on flat ground, has about 260mm of effective armor. But angled like this, well, you're gonna see, well, first off, that didn't actually hit the upper plate. That hit, well, that hit next to the cupola from the E100. That did not penetrate. While the pen marker is there, it did not actually penetrate. It actually glanced off around about here on an auto ricochet angle. But obviously, this thing does not have the pen to contest either the Type 4 or E100 frontally, so as you can see, Remedy has already had to press his 2 key, and it can't even contest the front of a T28, which is a same tier tank destroyer. But his premium rounds, they just make the armor on the T28 worthless. And the lower plate of the E100, well, even at that angle, standard ammo would not have penned. And on the Type 4, which is another tank, that frontally you cannot pen with standard ammo on pretty much every tank in the game. And so, premium ammo, shoulder angled towards him, there you go, easy peasy. And here we have a Grill 15, so where is he going to shoot him? That was the upper plate, angled back. That was 279mm of standard ammo pen from the Grill 15, just bounced harmlessly off. And the T28 and M46 Patton both bounced off him. I think the T28 bounced off here, and the Patton bounced off the upper plate. Except the Patton bounced with premium ammo. So the Grill has resorted to using high explosive. So, yeah, you can see already this thing is pretty dumb. It's bouncing tier 10s without, and even tier 9s in the case of the M46, and even firing premium ammo at that without too much trouble at all. The Liberté is much the same, except I would actually consider the Liberté to be much better balanced than this, or the 252U. Because while it does have outstanding frontal armor, it at least has a weak spot that most things that it can see can actually pen, that being the cupola. So the Liberté, I would say, although it's still a power creep tank, it's actually somewhat balanced, because it actually has a frontal weak spot that can be penned, even though it can be hidden if you come around this right kind of corner, but it can be penned. Now obviously that shot from the IS-3 was into the side at pretty much a flat angle, so, you know, that wasn't too difficult. But now, what can the IS-3 do here? He's got the upper plate or the turret to shoot at. And so, tries to shoot the cupola, but obviously, because, well, RNG, and also the angle of the tank, that would never have penned. In fact, he hit him right on the gun mantlet. Yeah. So, obviously you can see that I'm controlling the camera at the moment. Just to show you exactly where shots are hitting, that shot in the side there was the IS-3. Now, you could say that also the Patriot is more powerful than this, because it's more flexible. That's sort of true, because the Patriot has better standard ammo pen than this thing. It's got better shell velocity on ammunition than this thing. It's got a better rate of fire and better DPM than this thing. But what the Patriot doesn't have is a lack of weak spots on the front. The Patriot, while it does have a cupola as well, it's got a kind of little step. So let's take it from this. It would be kind of if you're going from the base of the cupola here down to this thing. But on this tank, this little thing is not modeled. On the Patriot, it does actually have a little step that can be hit at close range, is quite consistently easy to hit. I actually had a match in my Patriot where I was in a fairly close range one-on-one with actually a defender, and you could quite comfortably pen with standard ammo. So there's that. But also the Patriot, the upper frontal hull is not quite as strong, the lower plate's weaker, the mobility is actually fairly similar to this, but what the Patriot has over this is just pure flexibility, and is a better... Well, the Patriot is a better offensive tank than this. This is a better defensive tank. That's probably just the ins and outs of this. So, what do I think about this tank? I'm just going to let him kill the artillery first. There we go. So what do I think about this thing? I really do think that this is just not needed in the game. I mean, it's nice to have new tanks being introduced, but in the state this thing's in, It's another tank that's just going to power creep some same tier tanks that are in the tech tree, like the T-32 and the VK4502A, and those tanks are not really going to see any changes. And this thing not really having any proper frontal weak spots is a huge problem. Even small ones would be nice, but the fact that you can hide the lower plate without much trouble at all, and this thing being incredible at side scraping as well, it's basically just like the VK4502B, but at tier 8 and American, but without any pen whatsoever on standard ammo. Yeah. It's a bit dumb. Though I will say this is not quite as idiot-proof as the Defender is, because the Defender, it's just a W key machine. You'll probably see that if on stream grinding credits, or even in the live play session I did with a lot of play in my Defender, well, Object 252U, then you'll see that I just don't give a shit about enemy tanks, even higher tier ones, because as soon as that lower plate's hidden, they have two tiny cupolas to aim at. And if I'm at medium distance, then hitting those is a problem. Because, you know, you remember the accuracy nerfs? Yeah, those things that made it harder to hit weak spots. Yeah, that kind of brings that in. So, yeah, this is just not a necessary tank to have. I'm all good with them bringing in a tank for the grand finals, but you know, the M4190 and the 1357, at least those were actually, you know, somewhat well balanced at the time. They're kind of more powerful than same tier light tanks at the moment, but I'm sure something will be done about those at some point. But at least they're not super OP and you know, that hard to kill, because you can at least pen them, and that's because they're light tanks. But I really do think that this was just, no, this was a awful move. And yeah. It's not just this tank though. I would say the Defender, the Patriot also fit into this category, because although those two tanks do have decent pen on standard ammo, you're still buying them, and they're much more powerful than same tier tanks. I would compare. I would actually, instead of the T-32, compare the Patriot to the Pershing, and it's just better than the Pershing. It's got better armor, it's got better pen, it's got better gun handling, it's got better shell velocity, it's got better DPM. It's just better. And I'm also going to say a few other things about some other tech tree tanks that have to actually face things like this and the Defender, and actually some other premium tanks, because this is the state we've gotten to. Let's take the IS-6 as our first example. You've got 175mm of standard ammo pen. Now that's previously okay, because it's got preferential matchmaking. Okay. And then 217mm of premium ammo pen. But here's the problem. That cannot really pen the front of a Defender. On the premium ammo and standard ammo on the IS-6, really the only viable place frontally on the Defender is the cupolas. But at least you can pen those. On this, the lower plate is barely a viable option when on flat ground for APCR with the IS-6. And everywhere else on the front is just a go fuck yourself zone. So, yeah, if an IS-6 is fighting one of these, and this guy has literally any premium ammo loaded whatsoever, well, the IS-6 is doomed, because this thing has still decent DPM. It's got better pen than the IS-6 as well, and this is as mobile, if not more so, than the IS-6. Yeah, I know. It's pretty dumb. And this thing has better armor than the IS-6. So the IS-6 is doomed if it has to face one of these at all. And then you've got the T-44-100. Well, all you can say that the T-44 is a medium tank, and it shouldn't be that difficult to get around this. You have to bear in mind, this thing is very mobile for a heavy tank. And then you've got the frontal armor as well, the T-44-100, and even the regular tech tree T-44 have to fire premium ammo with either of the top guns. It's got the 122mm or the 100mm, the 100mm being the more viable, to actually get through the lower plate. But if this thing is hiding its lower plate at distance, what can they do? Nothing. Nothing's your answer. They can try and find a way around, but this thing can turn pretty damn quickly. And it's basically just a medium tank without the medium tank top speed, so yeah. And the DPM on this at least is similar to the T-44 and 44-100, if not better. So from full health, those tanks don't have any good chance of actually beating one of these, even when tracking it and circle strafing it. Because this thing has a repair kit to go, good to go, then, well, sorry. If there's any cover whatsoever, this guy's going to be using it. And it's not difficult to use it at all, and you don't need to angle that much to bounce standard ammo from T-44s, because that's only 183mm of pen, which is awful at tier 8. And then the premium ammo, 234, 235, that can't even go through the lower plate of an IS-7 when it's looking up at the lower plate. So, think about how difficult it is for those to actually face defenders, which they'll see more often because they're the same tier. And then they'll have to fight these things as well. So, you know, there's those little details right there. Just small ones. Oh, did I also mention that the VK4502A and the T-32 both have to fire premium ammo at this thing? Yeah, there's that. Then there's the T-34-3, the T-34-2. You get where I'm going with this. There's a lot of same tier tanks that have bad DPM, bad pen, that just won't be able to compete with this thing, because, and indeed the Defender and the Patriot, because either they don't have the pen, or the DPM, or a mixture of both, or even mobility in the case of some. So really, this was an unnecessary, powerful, power creep tank that's just not needed in the game. This is just the closest, well, basically this is just going to be to the American tanks what the Defender is to the Russian tanks. Power creep. Way more powerful than anything in the tech tree at the same tier. For no good reason. Just, it's not needed. And I can see why Sir Foch got so angry, because he's passionate about this game, and he's been playing it for years and years and years, and I just, no, I have nothing, I have nothing else, just, why? So, I will not be buying this. I'm not going to buy any more of these overpowered premiums. Just, no. Ever. No, there's just, that just says it all. I'm out. I can't go on. No, can't go in with this video. That's the last for this video. I know it's not normally what I kind of do, but I had to touch on this. It had to be done. So, if anyone sees this, fuck you. If anyone from Wargaming says, like, come on Wargaming, just fix your shit. Get your shit together. This is not what's needed in the game. If we wanted these overpowered tanks, at least, you know, give us a way to beat them. That's, you know, not get lucky and be on flat ground and firing premium ammo at the lower plate. Or get lucky, shoot them in the side once, maybe, if you're lucky. And then at least balance the ammo on the tanks, so then that you don't have to fire so much premium when you're driving the damn thing. Yeah. That's all I've got for this video. So, back to your regular programming tomorrow, as usual. See you then.